Today, a biosimilar finally reaches the U.S. market, FDA approvals in CINV, and several regulatory advancements in multiple myeloma. Hello and welcome to OncLive News Network. I'm Laura Jones. Sandoz made history with its launch of the first FDA-approved biosimilar, Zarxio. Zarxio was approved in March 2015 as a biosimilar to Amgen's neutropenia drug, Neupogen, but marketing of the drug was delayed after Amgen sued on grounds of unfair competition and patent infringement. In July, following a series of lawsuits and court decisions, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit dismissed Amgen's claim that Sandoz violated information disclosure provisions in the Biologics Price Competition and Innovation Act of 2009. The agent is available at a price that is approximately 16% lower than its branded counterpart. The 300 microgram dose of Zarxio will cost $275.66, and the 480 microgram dose will cost $438.98. This compares with the historic price for Neupogen of $324.30 and $516.45 at these same doses. Tesaro announced the FDA approval of Rolapitant for use in combination with other antiemetic agents to prevent delayed nausea and vomiting from initial and repeat chemotherapy regimens, including highly emetogenic chemotherapy. The approval was based on data from multiple Phase 3 trials in more than 2,500 patients. The data from these trials showed that adding Rolapitant to a 5-HT3 receptor antagonist and dexamethasone was superior to the dual therapy regimen in preventing delayed CINV in patients receiving chemotherapy regimens that were moderately or highly emetogenic. The drug was also studied among patients receiving various emetogenic chemotherapy agents, including cisplatin, carboplatin, and anthracycline and cyclophosphamide-based regimens. Also in CINV news, Merck's drug Aprepitant now has an expanded indication that includes pediatric patients. The FDA has approved Aprepitant capsules in combinations with other antiemetic agents for the prevention of acute and delayed nausea and vomiting in patients aged 12 to 17 and for those under the age of 12 who weigh at least 30 kilograms who are receiving highly emetogenic chemotherapy or moderately emetogenic chemotherapy. The extension to the indication was based on findings from a Phase 3 clinical trial that examined a combination of Aprepitant and ondansetron compared with placebo and ondansetron. BMS announced that its PD-1 inhibitor nivolumab has received an FDA priority review designation as well as a breakthrough therapy designation for patients with previously treated non-squamous non-small cell lung cancer. The priority and breakthrough designations are based on data from the Phase 3 Checkmate 057 trial in which second-line nivolumab reduced the risk of death by 27% versus docetaxel in patients with non-squamous non-small cell lung cancer, including a 60% risk reduction among patients with the highest levels of PD-L1 expression. Across the full population, the median overall survival was 12.2 months with nivolumab versus 9.4 months with docetaxel. 1 year overall survival was 50.5% versus 39% respectively. Nivolumab was approved in March 2015 for patients with squamous cell non-small cell lung cancer who have progressed on or after platinum-based chemotherapy. On the multiple myeloma front, there are 2 new priority review designations. One is for Janssen's anti-CD38 monoclonal antibody daratumumab, either following at least 3 lines of therapy, including both a proteasome inhibitor and an immunomodulatory agent, or in those who are double refractory to a proteasome inhibitor and an IMiD. The priority review was based on data from the Phase 2 Sirius study that were presented at the 2015 ASCO annual meeting. In this trial, daratumumab demonstrated a 65% 1-year overall survival rate and a 29.2% objective response rate in heavily pretreated patients with double refractory multiple myeloma. The other priority review designation is also for a monoclonal antibody. This one targets SLAMF7, which is expressed on multiple myeloma and natural killer cells. The designation is for elotuzumab as a combination therapy in patients with multiple myeloma following the failure of one or more prior therapies. According to a statement by BMS and AbbVie, a separate regulatory filing for the same indication was accepted and given an accelerated review by the European Medicines Agency in late July. The FDA and EMA reviews will both be based primarily on data from the Phase 3 ELOQUENT-2 trial, which evaluated elotuzumab in combination with lenalidomide plus dexamethasone versus lenalidomide and dexamethasone alone in patients who had 1 to 3 prior therapies. The median progression-free survival was improved by 4.5 months with the triplet. OncLive recently spoke with Dr. Kenneth Anderson of the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute on the role of immunotherapy in multiple myeloma.
Monoclonal antibodies are brand new in myeloma and have been studied primarily in relapsed or relapsed refractory disease. They have shown high response rates and extent of response, even in high-risk disease, and now are being moved earlier into the disease course on the one hand, and are also being studied as maintenance treatments on the other.
Visit onclive.com for more of this great interview. The European Commission has approved Panobinostat in combination with bortezomib and dexamethasone for adult patients with relapsed refractory multiple myeloma following prior treatment with bortezomib and an IMiD. The decision, which was based on a sub-analysis of the Phase 3 Panorama-1 trial, makes Panobinostat the first HDAC inhibitor to gain approval in the European Union. In the pivotal trial, the addition of Panobinostat to bortezomib and dexamethasone improved progression-free survival by 7.8 months in a subgroup of 147 patients. Panobinostat is approved in the United States and Japan for similar indications in previously treated multiple myeloma. The European Commission has also approved the combination of dabrafenib plus trametinib for the treatment of patients with unresectable or metastatic BRAF V600 positive melanoma. The approval is based on results from the Phase 3 COMBI-D and COMBI-V studies in which BRAF/MEK inhibition with the combination improved overall survival versus the standard of care. The combination of dabrafenib and trametinib demonstrated a median overall survival of 25.1 months compared with 18.7 months with dabrafenib alone. And that'll do it for today. Thank you so much for watching OncLive News Network. I'm Laura Jones. We'll see you next time.